Sounds like Paul Simon.
We're just listening to the
Sam.
just playing the Beatles, man.
Hey, brother.
Are you a Beatles fan? I'm trying to put together
Of course,
a Beatles
man. You gotta be a Beatles.
hits channel.
How are you, gentlemen? Good.
Good.
We're very
How are
good.
you?
Where do I sit, Mr.
Right there, sir.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, we're just going to. They started the Beatles channel here on Sirius XM, and we were just talking about how you literally can't. You could play the Beatles anywhere, and it's relevant. It's just one of those things that just kind of translates everything.
Yeah.
Well said.
And we talked also about 70s movies, and Sam is not a huge fan of a lot of 70s movies, and I'm trying to spit out great 70s movies.
I mean, and acknowledge there are amazing movies
Yeah,
that were
yeah.
made in the 70s, but like if you take out those, AFI top 100 movies, generally speaking, I just can't get into it.
What do you think's a movie that defines? Because a lot of your stuff was in the like we started in the 80s. What's a good 80s defining film?
Oh, I was thinking 70s. I was going to say Apocalypse. I think, personally, I have a different take on it. We all deserve one. I think it was the last decade of, like, the filmmakers. There was a lot of great movies made in the 70s.
In the 70s, right?
I think so.
Well, so what's one you think defines the 70s really well?
Good question. Which one defines? Oh, there's so many. What would you say, Jim? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I said Cuckoo's Nest. I was just in the bathroom with Troy
you
telling
had-
him you got to see one flew. He's never seen one flew the
Great.
Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah,
Great film,
that's
man.
an amazing
Good
movie.
film.
But you were talking about movies that I hadn't even heard of. Like those
Dog Day Afternoon.
No, of course not. Dog Day
Another one.
Afternoon. That's incredible.
Yeah.
But I mean, like your Alan Alda movies that you were talking about.
Oh, but they were like 80s. We had Alan Alda in earlier. We had It Seems Like Old Times. Ellen Burstyn, where they're cheating. They're just fucking each other once a year. And what was the other one? It was Four Seasons with Carol Burnett.
I love that movie.
Isn't that great?
4 middle-agers on a boat,
Yeah.
but it was poignant. It was good. It was a good script, man.
It was about getting older and how your life changes. And the one guy starts banging this like 20-year-old ditzy girl. And it's like now, as I'm in my 40s, I kind of get it a little bit.
Is it tough now for an actor? Because like one of the things we were talking about is that like stories aren't being told so much in theatrical releases anymore. It's all the sort of blockbuster action blockbuster. Like it feels to me, just as an onlooker,
Yeah.
like studios are after the guaranteed to get X million dollars in the opening weekend, and then we got the next action movie over here and the next superhero movie over here.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, that's part of that formula, the targeted films and tent poles and all this stuff. I don't know. I haven't made any of those films yet. I mean, I don't know. But
When you
they're
get a
interesting.
script, what do you look for?
Good writing. I mean, the conflict. I don't know. I think in both, in comedy too. I don't know. What do you look for, Jim, in a good script? I don't know.
I look for just them saying, yes, I can do it. I look for poor decision-making by the casting director.
I think it's like watching a movie. I think you become aware of time when you're reading anything. You're like, well, what am I doing? Well, this is not interesting. So I think you want to get lost in, I guess, that suspension of disbelief or time.
And you mentioned Apocalypse Now. Like, Martin Sheen, right?
No,
you don't?
No, but Lucia and I go to a church in Malibu. We see him there. I mean, I think he's a beautiful guy, man. He's he's such a great actor. And he's been great in so many films. I did meet him as a kid on Breakfast Club. He came to the set once.
Oh,
with
for Emilio.
Yeah, it was great.
Was that back when he was he sober then, or was he still drinking? Because Martin Sheen went through that thing in Apocalypse Now where he had that meltdown, and he's actually sober many, many years now. Was that back when he was still in his wild days?
No, it was recently, a few weeks ago.
No, when you said on the set of the Breakfast Club.
On the Breakfast Club. Well, that was, 1984. He came to visit Emilio. Yeah.
Was he a mess back then, or was he
No,
healthier?
he was totally cool. It was like a dad beat. Yeah.
So maybe he had already cleaned up. That was like a couple years after Apocalypse Now.
But that story is fascinating, right? During the making of it, how everybody, because I think Coppola was just, I mean, it's a masterpiece, but, he was he didn't know what he was doing. It was like something out of control, I think, at that point.
Those stories are always good in hindsight.
Yeah.
Like when you doing a movie and your fucking star melts down drinking and punches the mirror and bleeds and you film it. That's not a great story in the moment.
No.
That's a great story 20 years later where you're like, oh, that was amazing that it
Right.
came together like
Right.
this.
No,
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah.
When they talk about like what a maniac like Kubrick would be to some of the women that were in his movies.
Really? Wow.
But yeah, like all like the documentaries, like they say, like The Shining, like he was a maniac to work with on that movie. But then in hindsight, you're like, oh, but was he just drawing out those manic performances?
I actually had the pleasure to meet Jack once, and he told me, I mean, this isn't really talking out of school, but
Sure.
I think that Shelley Duvall at that time, like whatever her demands were and this and that, and Jack's take on it was, just Kubrick was like strategic and surgical about it. And I think when you watch that film, there's a bit of a meltdown unfolding,
Yeah.
But that's a whole other category, Kubrick.
That's what
Yeah.
he said. They were saying that like he would treat Jack Nicholson like $1 million, and then
I don't
Shelley
know.
over
Yeah,
here.
I didn't plan on saying this, but it's interesting because you never know. I mean, I also read something that Coppola said, which is when he looks back at his life, that when you make something, it just reminds him of where he was at that point,
Yeah.
Now, the film that his wife made about the making of Apocalypse is, I think,
Hearts of Darkness.
It's incredible. Hearts of Darkness is like equally fascinating, right? So I mean, it's interesting. They're kind of marks certain period of times.
Did you ever get to meet Brando?
I didn't. I didn't. No.
Yeah, because they said he was really difficult in that, and Coppola, who had brought him back from The Godfather,
Yeah.
and then he's kind of 10 years later just kind of being a dick to him on the set and being difficult. And
Yeah. The human condition, Jim.
I guess so. In your movie, this film you're doing is with Brad Pitt. I mean, you've worked with almost everybody. And how did this come about? This is based on the firing of Stanley McChrystal.
It's a Netflix movie.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Oh.
And what happened was there was an article called The Runaway General years ago, and that led to Hastings writing the book, The Operas, which is fascinating. He had a great voice as a writer. It's a shame he's not with us. But what Michaud did, and with Plan B and Netflix, was to say, look, we're going to kind of fictionalize this, and it's inspired by.
Okay.
And the film, people are going to get whatever they get out of it, but it's certainly, I think it's a really great piece of work. I'm really proud of it, man.
And Netflix is amazing what they're doing. They're doing all these original films. Like they put $100 million into this new Scorsese movie I heard with Pacino, De Niro,
Irishman. Yeah, I read
Pesci.
about
Is that what
that.
it's called, The
Yeah,
Irishman?
yeah.
What's that about? Do you know?
I don't know.
I don't either. I wouldn't have asked. But I mean, they're spending so much money and getting they got Brad Pitt. I mean, it's hard to get these guys for these. It's got no theatrical release. It's just coming out on Netflix. Is that weird for you?
You know what's so interesting, Jim? I was in the car yesterday, and the driver was so cool. He was from Jamaica, and he said, "You know what, man? Without naming him, television, it was getting a little bit, time for a new model." And this is a guy, right? And he was saying, like, he goes, "I got 4K in my car, man. The image at home, and he was in support of it. So I think whenever people resist change at any level, but I think what they're doing is incredible. I mean, I'm honored to be working for them, and I saw the latitude that Plan B and Mr. Michaud had in making a film around the world, where all the former issues of the opening weekend, all these other things, I think are. Although still in play, they're not restraints anymore.
Does it take a lot of pressure off you? That's got to be like you're not obsessed with how much did it make or what
We
else.
were talking about that. Caitlin and I, who works with Strategy PR, about the model at Netflix is great because what they do for a living, they're allowed to help and support the film beyond that first weekend. So look, man, there's a lot of ways to work.
I did something for them, and they said I did a lot of press for it the first week, and they said you don't have to do. They actually told me you don't have to do it. You could do it in a couple of months. They're like, it lives forever here.
Yeah.
You don't have to obsess about because you get so used to who's gonna watch that first. And this was just relaxing. I'm like, all right, if they don't see it now, they'll see it in fucking 6 months. Whatever, it's there.
Right. And it's interesting because I had a different opinion a couple of years ago. We kind of glorify traditions, right? So like the movie theater, I read once Orson Welles was like, and this is years ago before everyone had a big screen, but one of these books I have on Welles, he said, the movie-going experience, people go and sit in the dark. It's like a temple-like experience, and they look up at a screen, you know what I mean? And the television at that point, this was probably in the 40s, he was saying, is over in the corner. You walk in a room and it's down there. You're kind of, the world has changed, man. I read an article with Mr. Michaud last night. He was like, I like watching movies at home.
Yeah.
People have to kind of get beyond whatever they get beyond.
And plus, Citizen Kane, we were just talking about this before.
We're talking about Orson Welles, yeah.
Yes, and that was
Amazing
a directorial
he is.
thing too, with
Amazing.
the lights and and with the mirrors and with the shadowing. So for him, seeing that in the theater must have meant something.
And he was inventing it. I watched this great documentary on Netflix a few weeks ago, man, and he was inventing that stuff. He didn't know,
Did you see the War of the Worlds? Orson Welles
no,
documentary.
is
It's
that
on
great?
Netflix as
I'm
well.
gonna check that
I
one out,
literally
too.
just watched it, but you see him
Yeah.
he was inventing stuff even before. He's in a radio studio.
Wow.
And it's all done live, but it's like this big room, and this person's doing this sound
Yeah.
effect, and he's like, he's being the conductor of this amazing orchestra to create this program.
That's what it comes down to, ultimately creativity. And at the same time, nobody works alone, man. I mean, other than Jim when he's on stage.
Yes.
But for the life of a comedian. But
Right,
seriously,
right, right.
it's such a community experience. You make a movie, man. There's 200 people, man. We're all in it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
do you still? It's funny. We have a mutual friend. I don't know if we've ever talked about it. You're pretty good friends with Mike Tyson.
I know Tyson. I haven't seen him in years.
Oh, you haven't seen him in quite a while.
Did you see him in Vegas?
No, I did. I saw his show when I was in Vegas.
Wasn't it great? I thought that was great what he did, man. I
Yeah.
love what Spike did.
Did you actually went and
Well, I
watched
saw it
it?
on HBO, but I hadn't seen it live. But I'm just saying, I love that they collaborate on that, and that he was so cool because people didn't know that. I knew him since I was a kid, and he's so funny, man.
How did you meet him?
Paul Gleason. After we did The Breakfast Club, I was a big fight fan. He took me to the Garden. I was a kid, man. I was like 17, and he introduced me to Tyson, and we became buddies, man. He's a lot there's a lot there, man. He's a really smart guy. He went through a lot of stuff, man.
He's a much different guy than you expect.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like he's more insightful. Because
Yeah.
again, when you just see someone boxing and talking shit, you that's what you expect them to be, and then you talk to him, and he's like got all these things about self-esteem and self-worth.
Interesting guy. Yeah. And
Yeah.
Tolbach's documentary was also great. Yeah.
That was really good, right?
Yeah.
But see, you knew him. I hadn't met him at that point when James Tolbach's documentary. So I saw that, and I was like, oh, it was kind of nice to see that other side of this person
Yeah.
who I had an opinion on.
Right on.
Yeah, I mean, he's got philosophies and he's well thought out. And, like almost everything in his life, it seems like he's got a philosophy behind it. He's got a self-awareness of what he has in his head that you wouldn't think would be there.
It just flashed me. No, I totally agree with that. And I also feel like, he lived the life, in terms of the fight game, he lived the life as Ali, and he's also been Joe Louis.
right.
When
Yeah.
you look at his life, I mean, ups and downs, man, nobody's immune to it, So I'm just grateful that he's still, he's got a bunch of kids, and he seems like very happily situated.
Didn't you
I'm
guys
happy
go to
for
the
him.
theater together or something?
Dude, we went and we had a double date with these girls, and we saw some play years ago. It was fun. We'd go to clubs. I mean, he was great. He was like a big brother. I didn't see him too much, but when I did, man, he was great.
Would you
Great
mind
guy.
going on a double date with Mike Tyson?
I would love to. I mean, he's married now, but his wife is lovely. I'd go out if I knew a girl
Be amazing.
who I could get to go, and Mike is like, me and Kiki will go out, but you got to bring someone. I would find someone to go. I would happily find someone to go on a double date with him, because his wife's very nice. So.
Dude, he was cool. He was a great friend, and I look forward to seeing him again.
It's weird, isn't it weird though, when you meet people that you wouldn't normally meet in showbiz, whether it's actors or comedians or fighters, and then you don't see them for a long time, but you make these really weird connections with people that you'd never have access to otherwise.
It's so funny you said that because I was with Kelly LeBrock this weekend. We were doing a convention. Those were fun, man, because it's very humanizing. I like going out and just having fun at those things. And I was having a similar kind of epiphany this weekend, how good a friend she is to me and how long I hadn't seen that and how well she actually knows me, even though, like we're saying, friends come and go, but when they're there, but over time, there's an appreciation that grows. And
How old were you when you worked with her?
I was 17, man. But we had some really cool, insightful conversations, and she was helping me with something that I was talking to her about. And I realized that thing about a friend, man. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
You realize how when you're younger, you just go, I don't have any friends. And then, idiot, you do have friends.
What do you do, by the way?
Better.
And you also
Right.
and you also have no idea probably in the industry, like because you spend all this time without seeing people.
Right.
Like you don't know until the years pass who's actually your friends, who was
Totally.
just this acquaintance
Totally.
that I knew then and don't know now.
Yeah, and I said this a lot. I mean, I'm not planning any of this. Life is such an incredible gift, right? It's a personalized experience. At the same time, it's group therapy. It's a classroom, So I think that a lot of us, we beat ourselves up and we think we don't have this or that. But back to friendship, I had a great few conversations with Kelly, and it reminded me of the value of our friendship.
So when you did Comic-Con, you kind of just went, did you do just a signing with people where they come
Yeah.
up and they pay to get pictures? I mean, it's...
Yeah, but it's fun. It's fun to do those, man. I don't.
Did you have to get to a place where it was fun? Like I would imagine.
No, I think what it is, it surprised me because it benefited me more than I thought I was being useful, because it really helped me to just get out of L.A. and wherever else I was in my head.
And go there and meet some fans and hang out. It's
And I
easy
noticed
money,
about
just
you too,
relaxing.
because he's a fan of so many things and people.
Yes.
So it's about staying inspired, I guess, as a creative person or not. So for me, it was helpful as a person to start doing those over the last couple of years. You make some money, cool, but honestly, what I get in that interaction has been very helpful.
How did you make? Sorry, Sam. How
No,
did you
go
make
ahead.
the jump too? Because a lot of guys who are really famous when they're young have a hard time when they become adults. And what for you is the one that tipped it? Like Jodie Foster pulled it off, but she went to college and took a little break. What tipped it for you? Where you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to be good as an adult too.
Well, it wasn't that thought out, Jim. I wish I could say it was. It was more like just having a hard head and wanting to work, but just realizing over time I had made bad choices, both in my career and my life, and at the same time getting back to myself by going, hey, man, you can do better. It's about the experience of who you're working with, the people you're with, man. And so push yourself further.
Was there downtime for you, like as
man.
adulthood happened, where you're like, I didn't get a
yeah.
job for a year? What's the longest you went?
Years. I mean, I've gone probably 2 years without jobs at different points in my life. So, and it's difficult because in our industry, it's hand to mouth. So you got to learn to appreciate.
And who else is in this film with you? Obviously, it's Brad Pitt. I saw the poster in L.A. Jonathan pointed it out to me.
Topher Grace.
Okay, Topher Grace. I don't
Great actors, man.
Oh,
I mean,
Tilda Swinton, Ben Kingsley, Jesus.
incredible. And then this incredible generation of brilliant young actors, man. R.J. Seiler, he's like a great comedian and actor. Emery Cohen, all these really Keith Stanfield, Lakeith, I'm not sure of his name. But just a beautiful assortment of very talented actors. And this director, man, he's truly a writer-director. This guy's someone to watch. He made a really powerful film. I mean, people decide what it is for themselves. But I'm honored to be a part of it. I'm honored to be working with Brad and Dee Dee and Jeremy and Netflix. And I'm just grateful that I'm in a good movie. I've done enough that I don't want to watch.
It starts.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to be on this Friday on Netflix, and it just this Friday, and then it just lives forever. Did you know Brad beforehand, or did you met for the first time?
No, just met him on the set. Cool guy, man.
What's your first meeting with him like? Is it at a read through, or what do they do? Are you a little nervous walking up to him? Or?
I mean, he's cool. He puts you at ease. He's a stand-up guy, man. He's really nice and easygoing. He's got a great sense of humor. On set, I just kind of, gave him his space, but he's great. He's a great producer. But totally on the level, man. He's down to earth and really cool.
Are you kind of past being nervous working with big name actors because you've worked with so many?
No, man, because I was amped and excited to work with him. I stayed the day that Tilda Swinton shot. You're always learning, so I was just grabbing from everywhere. And sometimes it's not in front of the camera, man. There was a prop guy in this movie that was one of the coolest people I ever worked with, named Billy. David gave him a cameo in it as a drunk stumbling down the street. It was awesome. I mean, there's all these connection points when you, as you know this, Jim, when you travel and. I love being surprised, by the connections and the people. It's not always, actor to actor. Obviously, it's a great collaborative experience. It takes a village to make a movie too.
Yeah,
totally.
When you're a kid, is it tough to go through the transition of like convincing people that you're not this kind of nerdy little kid that you know what I mean? Because you get cast in so many movies that become this one's iconic, and then the next one's iconic, and then the next one's iconic, and then people are just like, that's Anthony Michael Hall, the person, not the character.
Yeah, I think that there was a blur for me as a child, man, because it was weird to get pigeonholed and like all that crap and stereotypes and all that stuff. And I think it motivated me as an actor just to go in different directions and to make a commitment to myself that, I'm going to keep working the rest of my life, man. I'll define whatever I can do. There's no planning in an actor's career, right, Jim? Or even as a comedian, it's like, I'll wind up here. No, man, you just woodshed, you work at it, and then...
But does it make you like? I'm going to start hitting the gym. I'm going to get really big, or I'm going to start
like
doing
I said,
this,
that
or I'm going to
insecurity
start.
and that. I know where you're going. Send that
Yeah.
vulnerability, absolutely. And then I made a couple bad movies. I remember my parents one time like, that was pretty lame. Like, you should get back to being vulnerable. But literally, they had that conversation with me. I mean, I'm being goofy about it, but
Yeah.
So, and that was a hip reminder to me too, man. Like, cameras don't lie. So, like, as an actor, man, you want to reflect life in some way, man. You're not trying to bullshit people.
Right.
Were people treating you like these movie characters you played? Like, again, all these Molly Ringwald movies, you did play this kind of like this geeky dude who wasn't sure of himself, but then you're a real guy. You want to go out and meet girls and get laid when you're 17. And are they reacting to you because you're famous or like you're that guy?
Probably both. I don't know.
Yeah.
Have you ever hooked up with a girl, like I've done this, who's much hotter than you deserve because you're famous? Is there anything better than that?
No. And the room swelled with good laughter.
It's true,
No,
though.
that's true. Be honest. That's it, man. And that's what it's taught me, too. I think that, it's not an act. Like, I've never understood celebrity. I'll be the first to admit it. It doesn't even mean anything to me. I just want it to work with good
Well, you've been
people and have
involved with it-
some longevity.
Yeah.
For so
I
long.
literally don't even believe in that shit.
Well, do you feel now like secure in the sense that
Thank
you're
you,
like,
Jim.
I figured out longevity? Like
No,
I
haven't figured out
longevity.
anything, man. I haven't figured out anything. I think it's about unlearning, realizing what you don't know. That's what,
Right.
That's what, I mean, I'm 40 now. Like, I think just shedding skins and realizing, man, just keep going.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you want to appreciate the people and the experience more and more. And that's been important to me recently. At the same time, trying to raise my game and be of service on any project where I can be. So.
And we've talked, I think, last time you were in about this too. It's something I'm really jealous of is the fact that we all love the Heath Ledger as the Joker, but you got to do a scene with him in that character.
It was cool, man. I saw he was very, very quiet. He was totally into what he was doing. I saw that he had this friendship with Chris. I remember reading, and this was interesting because then I saw it. They were talking about like Clockwork Orange and the Sex Pistols, and there it is. I mean, his performance is incredible, man. But there's all this kind of animalistic stuff he does too, this behavioral stuff. I mean, he's brilliant in that film, man. But again, I don't really lean on actors or people when I'm working, man. I just kind of stick to myself, and then I just try to be prepared and conscious of the experience, and then I kind of save it for whatever is important with the
But
work.
in the scene, do you realize at the moment that you're working with what is going to become this fucking amazing, iconic character?
No, I mean, I knew it was going to be a big movie. There's no way to anticipate dollars. And so all I can say is I saw that he was in his zone for sure, man. But at the same time, he was cool. He was like a surfer from Australia. He was a great guy, man. He'd be listening to music in the morning. He's just a person.
But when he's in that zone, like on set, and when he's pulling off the scenes that you're seeing him pull off,
Right.
does it make you feel good knowing like, okay, everybody's bringing their A game here?
Oh, totally. I mean,
like this is going to be a good product.
Yeah, man. Because I mean, the truth is, I'm a big fan of Christian's and I was of Heath's as well, and I still am. And so, I mean, I was older than those guys when I made the film, and I got a small part, but it was not about that. It was about again, the experiential thing, like being there, being a part of it. I was studying Nolan, man. Nolan kept reminding me of Hitchcock. I don't know why, man. He just felt like such an old soul, and he's very, very kind of controlled and interesting, very quiet. But he's just—it's like a Kubrick. When I was one day, this is a funny, quick story. I didn't know what to say to this dude. I really didn't, and I was so honored and thankful to he and his wife Emma for putting me in the movie. And I happened to shoot on the first day of filming on the movie. And at one point, I got the balls. I walked up to him. I go, Chris, so who are your favorite directors? It was like two guys on a golf course. He doesn't even look at me. We're both staring straight ahead. He goes, this is great. He goes, Ridley, Malick, and then like a 3-second pause, and he goes, and Kubrick for a sense of control. I'm in a terrible British accent, but he goes, and Kubrick for a sense of control. And at that moment, I knew I'm going to leave this guy alone for the next 6 months. But really, he took the time to say that. So he was like, he's into Ridley Scott, Malick, and Kubrick. And I went, wow.
Why the sense of control?
Well, I think because I think that he's got such a mind, man. It's like his movies are playing out on a lot of themes. He's working with memory and time and dreams. I mean, you look at his work.
You have to have a clear vision and can have a discipline about how to control all the elements.
Yes, sir. And I think like Kubrick, you're dealing with a major intellect. That it also was chess to him somehow. I mean, I don't know, man. I got a 9th grade education, but I read a lot, and I was really studying Kubrick long before I had a chance to speak with him. I was going to do this movie, Full Metal Jacket, and I had the opportunity to speak with the great Kubrick. And my first conversation, my knees were knocking. I'm at Sheridan premiere. I was making Weird Science with John Hughes, and I knew Kubrick was going to be calling me. And without getting into too many of the details of it, I was on the phone. I'm like 17 years old, and he started talking about Eisenstein and Chaplin, and I was like, "Yo, I'm on the phone with Stanley Kubrick."
Yeah.
And all these years later, I mean, there's so much. I would encourage anybody to study Kubrick, man. It's incredible. But anyway, back to Nolan. He's at that kind of mind. I was just like, dude, just watch this guy. You know when to shut up when you're on a set.
Sure.
Were you up for the Matthew Modine role in Full Metal Jacket?
Yeah, that was the role he wanted to give me.
One.
Yeah. And unfortunately, just without getting into, I'm not going to cry about it. It was just a difficult experience. It didn't work out for whatever reasons, but I always look back, man, and it's probably the only thing I would consider a regret that it didn't work out because I so admire him and I so love his work. And was so honored to have a conversation with him.
Yeah. But you never know where, even if a great one like that, you never know where it would have went after. You might have done a movie after that wrecked everything too. Like, so, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have a really good career.
Landing. You guys know about that? Yeah. I mean, I saw a couple documentaries that opened my mind up to stuff that I didn't even know about was going on.
Oh, you think that he directed that? Are you a conspiracy guy?
Totally.
I don't believe conspiracies.
Thing? No, the NASA thing. You know about this?
I don't believe it though, but
Our
boy
guy
Troy does.
He brought
Troy,
it up to
watch
us.
that one, man.
I've seen that documentary. It's awesome.
Dude, it's dope, isn't it? That documentary. That guy is like.
So the theory is that Kubrick directed. Tell me what Troy. Tell me what the theory is.
Troy, bust.
Yeah.
Basically,
Smart.
they went back to some of his movies and they compared the moon landing, the video of that, to some of his movies.
The way it
and
was shot.
the exact way it was shot, and there's a lot of similarities. And then it goes into The Shining, and he had implanted a lot of different hidden meanings inside The Shining.
Right, and so the theory, yeah, exactly. Well, people can find out for themselves, but which opened my eyes to that The Shining was actually a personal catharsis for him based on 2001 and what happened before that, which led to the moon landing.
Right.
We got it. You got to see the movie though.
Yes.
All right, I will
so he
see
does
it.
It's
2000
heavy.
he
It's
does
heavy. There's
2001
connection points
first.
to be made, but you got to actually study. It's heavy. I'm not smart enough to verbalize it.
And did he? So does that mean the moon landing was fake entirely, or
Or not.
The people say that they went there, but that footage was faked, just to make sure that they showed.
because we need beautiful footage?
Because the powers that be and were saw that he had done such a mind-blowingly realistic job with 2001
Right.
that there was some recruitment done there and that it could have been faked. So who knows? No, I believe they landed on the moon, man. I don't know.
We have to end this because our show ends. Our show actually ends, and the computer will cut us
All
off.
right, we got to go.
They would
The
give us
government is cutting us off.
Oh, there we go. Here we go.
I wish
Here we
I
go.
knew this. I would come back, but we'll talk about this.
the
This
moon is
fun,
real.
dude.
The moon is real.
Anthony Michael
It's
Hall.
made of cheese, but it's real.
It's